I also call myself a multidisciplinary artist and doer, because it's one thing to be an artist and it's another thing to be a doer. I just like to create. I'm creating a community. Sounds nice, but creating a community is also a form of art, because art is literally everywhere, just like politics is everywhere. Just want to say hi to my colleagues. I'm not gonna get fired.
We need more women in politics.
We need, yes. We don't even have to say that we need more women in politics. We just need people on a very equal gender basis. Ukraine is home, and I really like my home. Who am I? I think I'm just a human.
Today, I'm very lucky to be in Kyiv with my dear friend, Yulia Popyk, who is the brand manager at Petcube for the time being, and a multidisciplinary artist. So, Yulia, thank you so much for coming today, for being in my life. And as I was introducing, I would love for you to explain to me and to our listeners what is multidisciplinary artist and what is your life journey?
Okay, so I'm very lucky and happy to be here too. Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to know you. It was a very lucky story of how we actually got connected, and now we're here doing this. Who am I? I think I'm just a human at this point of time, and I don't like to classify and put labels that much, but I did come up with one term that could describe me quite well in the last years, and I decided to go with multidisciplinary artist. Why? Because I'm just a very multidisciplinary person. I do a lot of things, and yes, I have my classic 9-to-5 job that I love. I work in IT, I work in marketing, and it's something that gives me the stability that I need as an anxious and just a young woman. But I also like to explore different things that I like. And by multidisciplinary and artist part, I'm just very eager to create. I think I have a lot of ideas and creativity and courage to actually execute them. And in my profiles, I also call myself a multidisciplinary artist and doer, because it's one thing to be an artist and it's another thing to be a doer. And I'm just very quick on my ideas usually. My philosophy is that I don't store them in the basket. And if I came up with something, like, for example, come up with a dessert that I'm selling now, it's a date, it's dates, and those are the dates, like the actual dates, in chocolate, which stem from another project, which is a Kyiv Dinner Club, public social gatherings in Kyiv for people to meet up and eat food. I also have a podcast called Thoughts Out Loud, because I realize that I have a lot of thoughts and I want to talk them through and out. And so I just share my thoughts out loud with invited guests. And I write on my Substack weekly, bi-weekly, monthly essays. I create videos on TikTok, Reels on Instagram. I have a Telegram channel where I also share my thoughts out loud. And I just like to create, but not in the very classic terms like just art or poem, because people are very used to, like, if you're an artist, you must sing on stage or dance or just perform. I might come to social performances. It's another topic that is very interesting to me. But at this point of time, I decided that I'm brave enough to call myself an artist, and it gives me a big happiness and hope that I can be that creative and admit it to myself to call myself an artist.
This is so interesting, because the reason why we met and how we met, I mean, first of all, it's through Generation Ukraine when we were doing our launch event in Lviv. Right? Some weeks before, I was with Olga, our mutual friend.
Yes.
We were together in Miami, and I was telling her that I'm organizing this event and I'm looking for really amazing, fantastic women to meet and to invite them to join the event. And she was like, "You have to meet Yulia."
I'm so happy she remembered me, because at that point of time we were not actively talking for like 2-3 years?
I think, for all of us, it was kind of the case, when you're busy with your work, kind of losing touch. But the way she described you was, she was like, I have this awesome friend. She studied in the US. She ditched US politics. She returned to Ukraine, bought a car, and started doing networking events at home. And we talked a little bit about Kyiv Dinner Club, which was the project you were doing. And I would love to talk a little bit more, a little bit later about your political career in the US. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is that when we did together the Generation Ukraine and Kyiv Dinner Club event, I could see the art that you're producing by eating and looking at the food on the table. It was so beautifully served, so exquisite. The little menus that you created, the presentation, the way you served it, the stories you told. It doesn't really happen very often, even in restaurants, that you have this experience. And I really loved the idea of kind of bringing people together based on similar values. And it looks like you're doing this through different things, not necessarily through Kyiv Dinner Club, but also through your podcast, through your TikTok, because, some videos are really making people discuss and, think about kind of social perceptions. So I'd love to know more kind of what did these different projects taught you, what lessons you got from them?
First of all, it's an amazing introduction for me because since I'm doing so much, maybe sometimes too much, I'm too a multidisciplinary person. I love the summary of you and your perception of me. And it's a very kind and I would say observant perception of me because, when you do something and you're actively involved in this every day, you don't come back home and think, oh, I changed narratives in people's minds. Oh, I do something super valuable and important. For me, it's just the way I live my life. I used to be a very ambitious and goal-oriented and attention-seeking validation person, whatever. But now I just decided that the best way for me to proceed with life is just to be myself and be honest. So the way you describe my projects and how you see them is also very valuable for me because I do hear feedback like that from people, but I usually still question it in my head, like, am I doing enough? Mm-hmm. Should I do more? Is it really that beautiful? And then you just need to stop and assess that, wow, this is what people are saying, and I have to thank myself and say good job. I did I started a lot of projects. I had a lot of ideas. And I would say that answering your question, two of the biggest answers I got, and I told you this today in the audio message before we met. First is be courageous to start. B is be sincere enough to yourself, first and foremost, to end it or finish it when needed. Because the inner resource that you have is you can see it both in the first and the second action. I need to have enough inner resource to start the project, and I need to acknowledge and validate the inner resource that is possibly lacking, or I want to do something else, or I'm a human being. I'm not supposed to commit to one idea once and forever. It's different with people and relationships, I suppose. If you feel like, okay, I'm changing, I need to let go of this and start something else, it's very important to be sincere with yourself. And one of the biggest examples of this, probably, I used to have a brand of eco bags, which was called Inspired Bags.
I think I remember this.
Yeah. So I had for 5 or 6 years, starting when I was 19, I started producing eco bags with different prints and embroidery. And my biggest hit was the Kyiv, not Kyiv bag.
Yeah.
with the red crossing, which I did the I reserved the trademark. I had the intellectual rights for the designs. And I sold those bags, I think more than 2,000 bags. 6 years of business. I had different outsourcing partners. I had 20 stores offline that I was selling them in. I had 4,000 followers on Instagram. And it was one of the first, I think, eco-totes or even Instagram businesses in Ukraine at that time that was that aesthetic and beautiful in 2018. Because now it's like the market is just overcrowded. Everyone in Ukraine is an entrepreneur now, which is amazing. But at that time, I was just taking photos on my phone. And because I have this vision or whatever,
Multidisciplinary artist.
Yes, I just was taking pictures of how I see this, and it got up very quickly. Just people started ordering them. I started getting more and more orders, followers. And when I was 25, 6, I don't remember, a few years ago, I just felt that this project is sucking out the soul out of me. Like first of all, I grew up. I don't wear eco-totes anymore. I need my good eco leather or leather bag to put in my MacBook and yoga clothes, sit in my car and just go do my business. And I just realized that I grew up, and it's time to end this project. And a lot of competitors appeared on the market, and it was very clear that they are much more focused on their business and they're growing. And I'm starting my IT job or public policy job, and I just focused all the time. And it was like having your child grow up and you just have to let them go. Mm-hmm. Like, you're 18 now, Inspired Bags. Thank you so much for serving your mission in my life. I did become a small entrepreneur. I earned some money. Maybe it was a good jumpstart for me for my marketing career now, which is more professional, because I did everything. I outsourced. I calculated the budgets. I did social media. I talked to people. I was customer support. I was everything. I was putting ads. Literally everything. Only my little sister was helping me do the dispatch in Nova Posta. And and I just said bye to the project. And there is another project right now that I might be finishing up somehow, or maybe transforming it. And it's probably Kyiv Dinner Club, because I realized that it's also taking a lot of my resource. I did not, unfortunately, find a partner who would be in Kyiv all the time, who would have the exact same values for food, vision, values, aesthetic, etc., to help me with it. It's not a project that is bringing me money at all, but it's taking a lot of my time, energy, and resource, because to prepare one dinner, it's a full weekend where I'm working again. And from Monday to Friday, I'm working on a regular job. And then from Saturday to Sunday, I'm buying food, I'm writing menus, I'm answering to people, I'm posting on socials, I'm starting to prepare food. The next day, I'm preparing the food all day. Then people come, I serve, I talk, I host, I take photos, people go, I load the dishwasher, I clean everything up.
And then Monday morning, you go to your workplace.
And I go to my workplace and I continue posting post-event socials and sending donations. And when people leave, I just go on my balcony and smoke a cigarette because I'm very tired. And it was very, very tiring. And because it also gained some popularity. And I started getting more followers, and people kept asking me in DMs, when is the next one? When is the next one? And I realized that for me to produce it regularly, or like bi-weekly or monthly, first of all, it's a full weekend of my life, which is fine because I used to really like the whole process and idea. But it's really energy draining. And when you're 8-10 hours standing on feet for 2 days, you just need a massage the next day, because I had back pains. And the second point is that I don't want to do something regularly just because I need to, apart from my normal job. But I also have a very good relationship with my team, with the company, so it's also flexible. But with this, I just need to have the inner drive and inner motivation, and I just really, for me to execute projects well, I really need to have the inner resource to do them. And so I'm currently thinking of how to transform this, or be honest and end it. I'm all about honesty. My key values in life are honesty, courage, and kindness. Literally 3 things I can have in life and I'll be fine. I already have them, so I'll be fine. I was courageous to start it. I was honest with myself to know when to end it. And I want to be kind to everyone who participated in it, saying thank you so much for changing my life. I did find a very good friend through it. I met you through it too. I met so many people. I got invited to events and podcasts because I was the Kyiv Dinner Club hostess and creator. And there was some sort of art in all of this. It's for real. Because for me, it was before I realized that I'm an artist in a non-traditional way, a very multidisciplinary one. For me, it was more of an event organization. I'm creating a community. It sounds nice, but creating a community is also a form of art, because art is literally everywhere, just like politics is everywhere, which is what I learned through my bachelor's and master's degree and my TED Talk that I have. Those things are interconnected. They're everywhere. The way you sit, the way you dress, the way you even set up this room is also art. It's your form of producing content and giving people narratives and something to talk about. So Kyiv Dinner Club was and is art. And through that, I also started doing my dessert, which I'm selling now. So I'm planning to focus on that because it's a little bit easier for me to manage. And it still gives me the creative outlets to come up with new tastes, to do like white chocolate, pistachio, to mix various ingredients. So it's still culinary art in a way.
That's so beautiful. Yulia, so beautiful.
I think
every single thing about what you just said is just, first of all, huge admiration for being courageous to start your own business at the age of 18, 19, for it to last for 6 years and to be able to learn and do everything while you were studying. It's such a big undertaking that probably you didn't realize at the moment that it was such a big undertaking. And it probably gave you a lot of lessons how to do your future businesses. And being so courageous also to, to end projects that you no longer feel you serve your best. It's something that's very difficult to do, being honest with yourself that you cannot do this anymore.
It sounds very easy right now to talk about this post process. Yeah. But when I was in it, just for people to understand that I'm not just some person saying, just end it if you don't want it. Of course, it took me, ending Inspired Bags took me a year of thinking. Kyiv Dinner Club ending took me half a year, 9 months of thinking. You just start being very disappointed in yourself. Why is this not working? Why am I unhappy? But time heals. You grow up, you mature even more, and when you listen to yourself, first and foremost, intuition doesn't lie. Because I used to be like, okay, if I'm an anxious person, should I trust my intuition or should I trust my anxiety? What is it? And the main rule right now is trust your first thought, first intuition, first instinct. I can do this. I can't. It's probably something that is leading you somewhere. And I used to close my eyes on that and be like, no, I need to still continue doing projects for events for people because people need this. And I need this too for my, ego, validation, for my, I need to put out my art. And then it's not longer art if I'm unhappy doing it. So it's,
Yeah, and I really can resonate, with taking time to think about it. But at the end of the day, the only constant in our life is change. It did. It does teach you something. It gives you many lessons. I'm assuming that all the different things or people who happen to us in our lives, they come for a reason, but then they also go for a reason.
Yes.
Same with projects, and I really resonate with kind of learning how to listen to yourself and to your gut. And especially if you are a meticulous perfectionist, as I am, that's like also very demanding from others and from myself in terms of, no, but we've invested so much time and efforts and resources, and people know about this, and what are they going to think about it? But I'm assuming at the end of the day, you will be your best if you put your heart and soul in things you truly believe can serve the best purpose for you and for others in this moment. But speaking of art, I really love how you presented art and politics together and how interconnected they are. Honestly, it's one of my biggest dilemmas in my life. How do I combine both with the job in a very political environment, and the company that we are building, the nature of our business is politics, and that inner longing and strive for having art present anywhere in my life. From I've had moments when I was trying to paint, to trying with photography, to trying with outfits and the way you design your home, and even this whole project came together because I was longing for the video production experience that just makes me so happy. And it's like trying to find that balance or imbalance of combining both. How do you experience it in your life?
A very good question. First of all, I love your outfit, and the way you present yourself is also very, like, you can sense that you know something of how you either want to look or how you want to feel. You can usually very clearly tell it, and I'm a very observant person, so I notice everything, and I love the outfit.
I love it.
Balance or imbalance? Good question, because I'm a person who has obsessive compulsive disorder. It's currently healed pretty much, but I still notice the brain patterns that I have. For example, I need to write the checklists of things I have to do, and if I don't put the tick, I get very like, I have to fucking do this. Like, I have to finally complete this task. So for me, combining a few projects together was something very disorienting. Like, what am I focusing on? I can't focus on everything. And then luckily, I had a mentor person in my life who told me that it's okay to prioritize and deprioritize things. It's okay to put more effort into one thing and then deprioritize it later and focus on something else. You don't have to cut off completely your consultant's job just to pursue art. Because in my case, I do appreciate the financial stability I have, and having that stability and having that sense of confidence gives me, I would say, more freedom to just relax and be in peace with myself. And through peace and through my femininity and accepting my masculinity at the same time, I get in this yin-yang situation when I can create and come up with something. And I would say for now, because I want to answer this first and then go to art and politics, for now, I'm balancing. For now, I do have a stable job. And in the free time, or if I did everything I had to do with my number one priority, which is my job, because I don't want to be fired. Just want to say hi to my colleagues. I'm not going to get fired. And then I can focus on other things that I enjoy in life, which are all of my forms of art. And it's funny that I do art. Like I don't trust myself that this is art. I'm going to stop doing this. This is art. I'm an artist.
Yes.
Dot. I balance because I found out that this is what works for me. When I'm stable, when I'm secure, when I feel that I'm in a position where I don't have to think, will I have food tomorrow? Or can I buy myself new pair of jeans? It might sound materialistic, but in the end of the day, since I'm an anxious person, and I'll repeat this with pride again, I'm not hiding this at all. I accept mental health. I learn about it. It's very important to acknowledge it first and ask for care if you need it, for help. It's very important for me to be comfortable in life, and from that I can create. And the balance and imbalance of art and politics, I think, is a little bit similar, but I will start with a pre-story if I can.
Yeah.
When I was doing my bachelor's, I started discovering the topic of soft power. And it was, I would say, the main interest through my academic career is that I wrote my bachelor thesis on soft power, specifically Ukrainian diaspora in Canada and the United States, of how they influence the politics through insight, which is probably very different now, but at that point of time, which was 2018-19, I did a research on that. I was also in the interning in the Canadian Parliament in the internship Canada-Ukraine parliamentary program, so I saw Canada from actually inside. And then I did my master's in the US in international relations with focus on security studies and international governance. And during my master's, I applied, got accepted, and performed my TED Talk on the topic of soft power in international politics. And it's on YouTube, and it starts with something like, you are the politics. Whether you like it or not, what you do, how you talk, what you post is all a form of politics. If you watch a Russian ballet, it's not really just art. It's their form of soft power. If you, I don't know, apply to an American internship or grant or scholarship, like I did, which was a Fulbright scholarship, you become another asset of soft power because they're investing in you to like the country more. And so now I have the liberal values, which I think I brought from the US, but I also think that I kind of developed them by myself in Ukraine. And I really think that those two are intertwined because music, performances, art, cinema, poems, books, everything in the classic form of art has its origin, and this origin was created and stems from some cultural, social, political perspective. Since I consider myself a Ukrainian artist, I definitely 100% have the Ukrainian upbringing, the Ukrainian inspiration, the Ukrainian trauma. Everything I went through as a child, as a young person, stems from me being Ukrainian and me seeing Maidan, me seeing Orange Revolution, me seeing the full-scale invasion, Crimea annexation, everything influenced me to create the projects right now, which are very much showing my political, social position. And it's because I'm probably professionally deformed in a way, because I studied international relations. I see everything very critically, and I'm obviously very disappointed in the way the world is unfolding now. But as a former international relations researcher / analyst, I can definitely say that even Kyiv Dinner Club has a core idea of A, promoting empathy and liberal values, B, promoting pro-Ukrainian position, And it also, because, for example, Kyiv Dinner Club had the core idea that we don't eat meat or fish. We are a vegetarian community, which is something I am practicing right now. I do eat fish myself, but on the dinners, I decided that I want to show and teach people that they can get full just by eating natural food from the local farmers market. So it was a way of me to influence people too, but influence sounds like a bad word, but I was just trying to show them a different way, my way of something different.
Yeah.
So I'll probably stop here for now.
Well, it's very interesting. Almost all of your projects, most of them, are very much Ukraine-focused, Ukraine-located, Kyiv-based projects. And your target audience is still Ukrainian society and Ukrainian population. Why do you still choose to do projects in Ukraine and not, let's say, focus them on international communities, to use this soft power to embrace and advance Ukrainian values, let's say, to your friends and colleagues in the US, in Europe, anywhere around the world?
I would say from all of the things that I do right now, one of them for sure, which is my Substack, is international oriented. I write my essays in English. I still write them from the head/heart of a Ukrainian young woman living in the war zone. So, but it's in English, and it's a way for me to practice my English skills, and it's a way for me to target and reach more international people. Why I don't do this, why I don't focus on international community, I think is I would love to. And I'm not opposed to it at all. It just probably at this point of time, I'm focusing on the things that are a little bit more familiar and easier. And it's talking to my Ukrainian audience.
But you left DC for Ukraine while you could have stayed and build, your career, your future there. Tell me more about that.
I did my master's in the States in Syracuse University. And in my last semester, I had an option to go to Washington, D.C. for our campus there. It was COVID, so the campus was closed, but I still moved to D.C. And at that time, I was interning in the, I don't even know how to label it. It's called United States Institute of Peace. It's a analytical/research, governmental, non-governmental institution in a very center city location. I interned there, and the last semester in my master's degree was awakening for me, because I realized that this is probably not something I want to be doing for the rest of my life. And I will explain why. I wrote a lot of papers on wars, war zones, security, conflicts, etc. One of the biggest ones, 90 pages paper, was about Russian-Georgian war in 2008. And from all of the research that I did, from all of the books, the papers, data that I analyzed, and writing about rapes, tanks, number of military vehicles, etc., 30 kilometers to Tbilisi, surrounded capital, I started thinking more and more that my soul is too vulnerable for this. I love the idea of becoming a minister of foreign relations, of being a young diplomat ending the war. But I was honest with myself at that time, and I realized that my mental health will be really struggling if I will keep working with topics like these, because it just breaks my heart to read about things like that. And in the end of the day, I I don't really think that this field is something that empowers me to be a better human. I don't know. It's maybe a very generalized statement, but I feel much happier and more myself when I don't have to be cornered in the rules like dress code, the way you speak, the way you do your makeup, hair, etc. I hate doing makeup. I just recently started doing my hair, but I like the freedom of being myself. And I knew that if I will go in the sector like that, I will probably not let that artistic side of me evolve. And it's also at that time was quite a toxic sphere in Ukraine for women. Statistically, it's more men, especially in the higher level positions. Mm-hmm. It's men who hire you, it's men who manage you, it's men who give you advice, mentor you. And it's just something that didn't resonate with me. I'm sure it's different in abroad. And when I was working in the States, it was definitely different. But it was still a very male-oriented dynamic. And while I believe that there are good men, I know a few of them, still it was a little bit tough on me. Like I didn't like the dynamic quite much.
We need more women in politics.
We need, yes. And we should not do this through the positive discrimination. We should just start talking more about it in terms of, like, we don't even have to say that we need more women in politics. We just need people on a very equal gender basis thing. Because if we repeat we need more women in politics, or why should we respect women, we're asking stupid questions. And unfortunately, we still need to say that, because there are so many stupid people out there that just don't realize this. But yes, we do. So I'm proud of you.
Yes. Our company is very gender imbalanced on the female side.
Nice. I love it.
We have at this moment maybe 1-2 men in the team, and 5-6 women.
Perfect.
It's what can you do, you know? What can you do?
Just don't hire them. I'm kidding. No.
It's something that, you know, we didn't. It's just the creative team is big. But in any case,
so why I decided to leave the States? Because I never wanted to emigrate. I never had the tick to get another passport. Never. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. I used to move a lot when I was a kid, and I never felt a sense of home until I think I came back from the States, moved to my apartment, got my cat, got my car, got my cat, sounds stupid, adopted a cat from the street, bought a car, reorganized my space, and I finally sat down and thought, wow, a sense of home. And a sense of home is very important for me. It's another piece of the block of my inner peace. And full-scale war, showed a lot that even this thing can be taken away, which is why I think my projects right now are very Ukraine-oriented, because Ukraine is home, and you cannot take away something like home. And I want to be repeating that people around the world are so lucky to have the homes that they think it's just their apartment. But in fact, it's their country, it's their identity, it's their passport, it's their citizenship, it's their values, it's their family. And I just always knew that I would be an alien abroad, even though I can speak English, I can adapt. I really liked going to New York in August, September. I spent almost 2 months in the US, just working remotely, traveling, seeing friends. But I just never had a big dream / goal of emigrating. moving somewhere and living there for a few years. Maybe I'm young, I want to explore, I want to see other countries, not be a tourist. Yeah, but at that point of time, it was COVID. It was Washington was very unstable. It was the BLM time. It was the election time when actually Biden won. City was celebrating. Everyone was beeping. It was quite nice. But Ukraine is home, and I really like my home.
I love that, part of your projects, you focus also on still to this day promoting Ukrainian values among Ukrainians. One of the big, it's more the explanation, one of the big narratives that were behind Russian invasion was that Ukrainians were speaking Russian language, so they wanted to be a part of Russia from lowercase letter. But here we are in Ukraine, in Kyiv, in the city center of Kyiv, speaking English. We don't feel oppressed. We don't feel like United States is coming, to take us as a part of the U.S. and basta. So I'm really loving that you're still explaining this, and you're still reminding many people in Ukraine that the Russian language question is way deeper and way longer. And as you were talking, it's the soft power with their culture, books, movies, music, everything. But living in Ukraine, do you still experience a lot of the Russian influence?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that as of 2025, around 50 is scary to say, but 40% of people speaking outside speak Russian. And I wouldn't say that this is not the goal of my art, social presence, content on social media to be speaking about language that people choose. For me, it's the same as we need humans in politics. It's a very obvious thing. If you live in Ukraine, if you live during full-scale invasion of a terrorist country, you can't be speaking a language of a terrorist because it's all interconnected. They will use it later. They already used it multiple times. They will use it again. And I just had a conversation with my friend yesterday about this. We both speak Ukrainian, obviously. And my reflection on all of this is that I have no intention or desire to oppress Russian-speaking Ukrainians. It's their choice. At the end of the day, it's all about choice. When you said, at the end of the day, it's all about change, I agree. But I also think the first point of this is choice. You need to make a choice. And then with that choice, you can see change. I think personally that people who have Ukrainian values, but continue to speak Russian, and I'm not talking about people on the front lines, because there are a lot of Russian speakers, Russian language speakers defending Ukraine. Completely different situation. We're not taking this into account right now. But people on the streets speaking Russian, I think it's the low willpower to embrace change, be vulnerable during it, and leave your comfort zone for the better good and for the values that you want to have in yourself, promote, and pass on to next generations or your social circle. Because to start speaking Ukrainian language, you need to step out of your comfort zone. You need to decide that, okay, I'm going to sound funny for a few months, but I know why I'm doing this. It's the same as with becoming vegan, for example. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable sometime not to be eating dead animals, but you know the end goal. You don't want to have that, be connected to that suffering kind of thing. And I think just people don't want to step out of the comfort zone because either it's in confidence that they will sound funny, people will be laughing at them, etc., etc. There are a lot of talks about that this is forced upon us. I don't want to do this by force. I'll be honest, this is not the topic that I'm actively discussing on socials. In the end of the day, it's all the choice of these people. If they donate daily to the armed forces, I can't do much. And it's not my motivation and goal to be persuading people to switch to Ukrainian. My goal is to be promoting the Ukrainian state as home that you want to support, that you want to live in, that you want to succeed, prosper, and just go on living as an amazing, democratic, liberal, fully developing state. And for that, it's pretty obvious that you need to speak Ukrainian. It's fucking obvious. But you do you. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I think Ukraine will be a beautiful place after the war ends. Can be very beautiful. It's going to take time, but
it will take time, yeah.
But even now, whenever I'm talking to anyone from abroad, and I'm trying to explain, in Kyiv, in Ukraine, you can find anything you want. Even, food, creative work, printing, I don't know, whatever you want. You can find all sorts of cultural shows, theater, music. I'm seeing somebody is doing stand-up from time to time.
Oh, yes. I also do stand-up. So it's another form of art. Yes. I now decided to do jokes publicly.
Yes. Also, speaking of jokes, there is nothing juicier than a good joke in Ukrainian. We are living through so many things. And I love that even today, we experience most of the things through humor. Like we express our emotions in many ways. Even if you watch the Ukrainian X account or United 24, half of this is the best quality memes you can ever find. And even better if it's in Ukrainian.
Yeah.
So before we take it to a wrap, I would love to discuss one big topic. What is femininity for you? What is womanhood for you? And what makes you excited being a woman in a world where you can be so many different things? What makes you excited being a woman?
I will start with that. I love being a woman. It's amazing. It's when I was younger, I was like, oh, it's so much easier for men. It still is easier for them sometimes, but there is so much strength and good kind power in being a woman. It's very, very deep and empowering for me. Femininity for me is being at peace with myself. It's just knowing that I can take action, I can make choices, I can do nothing, I can relax, I can enjoy, I can live, I can choose, I can do so many things, and it's all thanks to many, many women before us who helped us get here, and men too. And whenever I think that it was so much different for women before, I cannot comprehend this in my head. Like, why did we not allow women to drive, to have business, to open bank cards? And I recently, not that recently, but I discovered that when I'm at peace with myself, when I am calm, steady, relaxed, know where I'm going, know who I am, it's the best feminine version of myself that I can be. Because when I'm in hustle, when I'm always trying to achieve, overcompensate, and I'm just like a rabbit or a hamster in a wheel, I lose that feminine spark that I really crave. Because with that feminine spark, I can also create, I can also come up with ideas, and yeah, I just really, really like it.
I recently read, a friend of mine wrote, posted something on the Women's Day, and she said, "There's nothing more feminine than a woman."
Yeah.
So beautifully said.
Yeah.
Do you have some advice, for young, aspiring women who want to try themselves, who want to, try so many different things, and who might be afraid to fail?
Fail is inevitable. Fail is a part of life. I would say that I'm not afraid of failing. I'm afraid of not trying. For me, that's scarier. For me, that's more depressing in a way, not to try than to fail. Because I have had quite a few times when I wanted to act upon something, but I didn't, and I sort of regret it until now, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I've also accepted it. And the next advice might probably not be related only to women, but I think since women are usually more insecure positions in life due to stigma, stereotypes, etc., anything that happens to you, and as crazy as that sounds, is something that needs to happen to you. You learn and you grow through every choice that you make, every action that happens to you. I needed to come back to Ukraine from the US for my life to be here as it is right now. I needed to break up with that person for me to understand something different. And as much as we try to resist change or resist acting upon something, if it will need to happen to you, and I'm a very spiritual in a way person, it will happen, and you will grow and you will learn from it. So yeah, I think we live one life. It's okay to be afraid, it's okay to be scared, but in the end of the day, it's your one and only life. Just do it. Just go for it. There is no other life, maybe in the next life, but we don't know about it yet. I don't have the empirical experience. Yeah, I'm all for, and I think the full-scale war showed me this, that we need to choose life over everything else.
And choose yourself.
And choosing yourself is very much integrated in choosing life, because you are life. And in the end of the day, you are everything, and everything is nothing, and nothing is everything. So it's a very all-encompassing mix of how you can look at things, but just do it. Just go for it. And if you feel like you're afraid and you're not ready to act upon it, then it means you're not ready to act upon it yet. When you will feel the final ignition and start to do something, it's one of the best advices that my best friend told me. If you don't feel like you want to do it now, you're not ready to do it now. Because when you will feel that inside, you will do it. And I follow that advice up until now. Always works for me.
So beautifully said. Yulia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to this podcast, and thank you for
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes.